Hey YouTube, do you want to know the 4 things that separate sales warriors from everyone else? The 4 habits that will take you from just an average salesperson to an unstoppable force in the field. Look, let me ask you, what if you could master these habits today and immediately start selling more? Not like next week or next month, like today. I can start earning more and living more purposefully. Stick with me because I'm about to show you exactly how to do it. Here's the thing I know about sales warriors is sales warriors don't wake up successful. They build their success every day with intentional habits. And here's the best part. There are only 4 things, 4 that you need to focus on. That's it, 4. Let me get into them. Number 1, know. You got to become a master of knowledge. See, the first thing every sales warrior needs is knowledge. But listen, I'm not just talking about knowing your product. That's the bare minimum. I'm talking about becoming an expert of 4 things: your product, your market, your competition, and most importantly, your buyer. Look, I'll never forget. I was coaching a sales rep. Her name was Lauren, and she had like the best close rate on her team. Like it was awesome. And it wasn't because she was born that way, like Lady Gaga says all people are just born that way. It wasn't the case. It was because she knew her product inside and out. She could explain every feature of her product. But here's the kicker. She didn't just stop there. She translated those features into benefits and those benefits into advantages that solved her buyers' specific problems and improved their life. That's the kind of knowledge that makes you unstoppable. The kind of knowledge that makes you a top 1% sales warrior. So ask yourself, do you know enough to be the go-to expert for your prospects? Do you know your product, your market, your competition, and your buyers better than they know themselves? And of course, better than your competition knows what we're talking about. Here's what I want you to do. Here's an action step. So write this down. Every morning, review something new about your product or your market. Make it a daily habit to grow your knowledge. See, the more you know, the more confident and credible you'll be, and prospects buy from the expert. Number 2, do. You got to take bold, purposeful action. See, knowledge is great, but here's the deal. It's worthless if you don't take action. A sales warrior takes bold, purposeful action every single day. No excuses, no procrastination, just execution. I remember I worked with a sales rep named Chris, who was terrified of asking for the sale, like super terrified. He'd give a killer presentation, build amazing rapport. They're both on the same page with the client, and then nothing, like crickets. He completely froze. He would freeze because he was afraid of hearing the word no. So check this out. I did a little ninja trick on his brain. So I gave him a challenge. I said, Chris, for the next week, I want you to intentionally go for 10 no's. I want you to go for the no's, not for the sale, not for the close. I want you to go for the no's. I want you to get as many no's as you can, but 10. 10's your goal. Well, at first, he thought I was crazy. But guess what happened? Yeah. Not only did he desensitize himself to rejection, because that's what happens when you do something over and over and over again, but he also closed 5 sales that week because he finally started asking for the sale. So listen, warriors, don't wait for the perfect time to act. They don't do that, right? Warriors don't do that. They don't wait for the perfect time to act. They create it. Warriors are bold. They're decisive. They execute. And of course, you can too. So here's your challenge. I want you to make a list right now of 3 non-negotiable actions you're going to take every single day. It could be follow-ups, asking for referrals, or scheduling whatever that next step is, of course, with your buyer. Whatever it is, I want you to commit to those actions and get them done. I believe one thing, and that's action creates momentum, and momentum wins deals. Say it with me. Action creates momentum, and momentum wins deals. All right, number 3, endure. You got to stay resilient in the face of challenges. So if you want to succeed in sales, you need one word tattooed. All right, Jason, that's a little bit extreme. So maybe you don't tattoo it, but I think you should. You should tattoo this on your brain, and that's the word endurance. Endurance is a cool word. You are a sales athlete, which means you got to train like athletes. You got to train your mind. You got to train your actions, your body, your language. You got to train your words. You got to train everything, right? Because here's the truth. Sales isn't always easy. I don't know, maybe you didn't know that, but it's not always easy, is it? You're going to face rejection. You're going to face tough markets and those days where it feels like nothing is going your way. Warriors don't quit, do they? They endure the the suffering. I remember a time early in my career when I lost a massive deal. Like it was a big deal, 6-figure commission type thing, and it was a lot. It was a big deal. And it was one of those kind of gut punch moments where you feel like you've been kicked to the curb, right? Like it was pretty depressing. It wasn't a good moment for me. But here's the deal. I could have let it derail me, but instead I decided to treat it as feedback. And so I asked myself, what went wrong? Like, what can I learn from this? And you know what? That experience made me a better salesperson because it forced me to improve. See, warriors don't see failure as final, they see it as fuel. So when you hit roadblocks, crumble. Don't let rejection define you, use it to refine you. Yeah, see what I did there? Cool. Okay, after every setback, here's what I want you to do, right? I want you to write down 3 positive takeaways. Like, what did you learn? How will you improve? See, the more you embrace challenges, the tougher you'll become, and toughness wins every time. Number 4, grateful. You gotta have gratitude in your life. Gratitude is the unyielding fuel for courage. I want you to lead with gratitude and of course, positivity. So that last piece of the puzzle is gratitude. And again, I get it. Like when I first heard about this, I was like, gratitude is kind of woo-woo, it's kind of soft kind of thing. But let me tell you, gratitude is the secret weapon of every successful sales warrior. Why? Well, let me tell you. Because gratitude shifts your focus. It makes you see what's good instead of what's lacking. And that's energy. It's contagious. See, people want to work with someone who's positive and grateful. I remember I worked with a team leader who started every meeting by having his team share one thing they're grateful for. Look, at first I was like, this is, we got to get to it, right? Like we got to just like start learning stuff. We got to start talking about sales, talking about deals. So I wasn't really that big on it. And at first, I'll tell you right now, people thought it was cheesy. Again, I thought it was cheesy. But you know what happened? Their entire culture changed. Gratitude brought energy. It brought optimism and it brought focus to their team. And of course, their numbers skyrocketed. I didn't think it was going to happen, but it happened. And so we need to listen to that. See, I believe now, after learning from all these experiences, that when you're grateful and when I'm grateful, I'm unstoppable. Gratitude is the unyielding fuel for courage. So if you want more courage in your life, you got to have more gratitude. See, gratitude keeps you grounded, keeps you positive, and of course, it helps you focus on what really matters. So I want you to start and end your day with gratitude. I want you to write down 3 things you're thankful for every morning and every night. It could be a new lead, a lesson learned, or just the opportunity to show up and give your very best. See, gratitude isn't just an attitude, it's a game changer. And here's the pro tip. You gotta celebrate the decisions that your prospects are making. So for example, if you convince your prospect to leave their current product or their service, like take a moment and celebrate that. You should say, hey, Mr. Customer, this is a pretty cool moment right now. Like you've decided to like not look back. You decided to like sell your house or change this or do something different. That's awesome. And now that you've created this momentum, you wanna say this to the customer. You wanna say, hey, great. So now that you've decided this, the next thing we need to do is blank. See, what you're doing is you're giving them that gratitude, you're celebrating the success, and that's gonna refuel their emotional bank account. So now they're willing to endure the next decision that needs to make in order to move towards the final yes with you. All right, so there you have it. The 4 ways to show that you're a true sales warrior. Not because of your title or not because it's on your resume or your LinkedIn profile. It's the 4 ways to demonstrate to yourself and others that you're a true sales warrior. Again, what are those ways? You gotta know. You gotta have the knowledge and you gotta know more than everyone else. Number 2 is you gotta bear fruit, right? You gotta be able to demonstrate that you know these things. You can't just be a college professor that knows a bunch of stuff and doesn't actually do what they know. You don't want to be a poser. You don't want to be a professor. You want to be a practitioner. Number 3, you got to endure. Look, it's a tough game out there. And so you got to endure the suffering and the struggles and the rejection of what's going on. That's what warriors do. And number 4 is you got to be grateful, right? You got to have gratitude and you got to celebrate every single thing in your life, every single win, every single failure. You got to even celebrate that as well. All right. Here's the deal. Last thing, warriors aren't born, they're built. And now you have the blueprint. So my question to you is, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to sit back or are you going to step up and become the warrior you are meant to be? If you're ready to crush your sales goals and take your career to the next level, hit right now that subscribe button and drop a comment below telling me which of these 4 habits you're committing to today, not tomorrow, but today. And remember, warriors, they don't just hope, right? They hustle. So now get out there and dominate. This is Jason Forrest. Push yourself to become the better version of you.